Hi everybody, it's Russ from My Hammers 11. I hope you're all safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon so you don't miss any content we have coming up. Obviously, we have videos going up daily, but sometimes 2-3 times a day. Every interview, every guest, every memory is priceless. So I wouldn't want to miss any of them. So make sure you hit that bell icon so you don't miss any. Loads of great guests from all over the world. Uh, well, no, today's guest is not very close. He's across the water. It's Irish Tommy. Hi Tom. How are you doing, man?
Not too bad, Ross. Doing well. Doing
How's
well, yeah. Bit nervy about what the next three games has in store, but other than that,
ah?
I don't know. We'll see.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. You know they're just dragging out the drama to keep the TV ratings up. That's all they're doing. So don't worry about that. It'll be fine. We'll be
Hopefully.
fine. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll beat Watford. We'll beat
Yeah.
Watford, and then we'll have a literally the Villa game. Will just be passing it around because I still think it'll be us and Villa will stay up. I think Bournemouth and Watford will go down personally, just because of the way the fixtures are happening. But we'll see. We'll see. How's lockdown treating you, Tommy? How have you been?
Um, it was actually fine for me, to be honest. Where I live here, and I live in the southwest of Ireland, in a county called Kerry. I live basically halfway up a mountain in the countryside in a bungalow cottage. I have a view just for miles. The sun was shining. I was getting the COVID payment, which was more than enough to live on for the few weeks where I was in lockdown. Um, I got loads of stuff done outside that I wanted to get done that I put in the long finger. It's hard to do it with work. So I had weeks and I just went out in the sun, getting a tan, doing the things outside, some painting and stuff done that I wanted to do and getting paid to do it. So
Yeah,
it was very kind to me. And I was lucky I wasn't in it too long
yeah,
either, I was running out of things to do. So, but uh, I work in a garage, a mechanics garage. So we were allowed back on the 18th of May.
yeah.
So I'd only really been off maybe 8 weeks, 7, 8 weeks.
Mm.
Um, and I was basically able to get back to work pretty much straight
Awesome.
away on the 18th of May, which was great. So I've been back working since then. So to be fair, the lockdown I found okay actually.
Yeah, yeah,
I feel really bad for people, maybe living in flats or something in urban settings where they've got no front or back gardens and they're
yeah,
stuck in apartments or whatever flats and that must have been really really rough. But
yeah.
I came out of it pretty good, to be honest. I can't
Oh,
really
good.
complain.
Exactly. No, and as you said, you sort of live in, up half up a mountain and stuff. So it's not like you're like part in in the city and stuff. So it probably made no difference to you, everything, to be
Not
honest.
really, no. No, not really. Yeah, I just spent more time at home than I was used to, but the weather was amazing
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
entire lockdown here, and sun was shining, beautiful days, and like I say, I've got views to die for here, and
Fantastic.
I could just walk across fields, never meet anybody. So, yeah, it was fine for me,
So
to be
jealous.
honest.
So jealous. No, lovely. No, and obviously, during the lockdown, you didn't have to worry about looking at the league table or anything, did you? For like 100 days, it was lovely, wasn't it? Not looking at the league table, not worrying about what was going to happen to West Ham. It was lovely, and then it sort of all hit back to reality a little bit, didn't
Yeah,
it?
that's it. Yeah, I mean, I went through a couple of phases, probably three. Well, the first phase was, well, this is actually quite nice. There's not really any sport on. Like you
Yeah.
say, there's no stress of having to follow West Ham every week. Um, I've got no hair left because of them. I've pulled it all out. Um, and then, after a few weeks, you think, I'm kind of starting to miss it a little bit here now and wouldn't mind some footy. Wouldn't mind seeing some Premier League.
Yeah.
I tried watching, I watched some Kazakhstani league match or something like that, and I couldn't do it. I just didn't care. Um, I lasted until half time and I was like, oh, who am I fooling? And then I tried watching a bit of Bundesliga, which obviously is
Yeah.
a much better league and the European league, but I never really had any particular interest in Bundesliga either, and couldn't do that either.
No.
So then I was thinking, I could really use some West Ham now in my life. And then thankfully, we eventually got the league back up and running.
Yeah.
And then, after a couple of games, I was thinking, like, can we just null and void this now? Because I remember now, it's all coming back. I don't need this in my life, really, do I?
No,
It's
I know
like,
what you mean. I know what you mean.
but
It's funny. It's
but
like,
yeah,
go on. No, go on. You were saying, sorry, carry on, man.
no, but thankfully, look, we have picked up our form. We've
Yeah.
picked up 7 points in 4 games. So it's been a bit better. We've had a couple of wins and a draw, one loss to Burnley, since our form picked up. So, and that win against Chelsea, I mean, what a tonic that was.
You just knew it was going to happen, though, didn't you, Tommy? It is the West Ham way, isn't it? They just, it's like when like those sort of 2 days where you had Chelsea and Newcastle. If you said you were going to walk away with 4 points, you would have thought, yeah, okay, so I could see us drawing against Chelsea and beating Newcastle, not the other way. It should have been 6 points, to be honest. But yeah, no,
Yeah, I mean, like that Chelsea game. I mean, that Chelsea game coming into it. Obviously, there's a lot of doom and gloom, a lot of talk about, geez, they're going to spank us. We could get destroyed. This could be 4-5. But I never felt that way about that Chelsea game, despite our terrible form. For some reason, and I don't know why, when we play Chelsea, we are always competitive.
Yeah.
We always seem to turn up against Chelsea for some reason or another. It's very rarely you'll see Chelsea spank us. Very rarely. We do tend to show up against them. Now, I'll hand on heart, I still thought we'd lose the game. I believe I predicted we'd lose it 2-1.
Yeah.
So I had tweeted out, I think we'll lose it, but I think it'll be like 2-1. I think we'll be competitive. We'll give them a game because we always do.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were going to beat them, to be honest. But to beat them, and do the double over them, and then to win it that way, to win it like 89th minute, to get a late winner, was just brilliant. And I think it was a lift that we all really needed, and especially after the lockdown and after our poor form after the league resumed, a lot of doom and gloom, but we really needed that, and it was brilliant.
Oh, totally.
It's just a pity there was no one in the stadium, wasn't it?
I mean, I was there, so it was okay. But yeah, the other 60,000, yeah, I know what you mean. It was one of those things. It was such an amazing game. It was just annoying that one of those games that people would talk about for a long time, and there was 300 people in the stadium. But
yeah,
what it is.
You can imagine just the limbs when Yarmolenko scored. I mean, it just would have been incredible, and. So it's a pity, but nonetheless, I was jumping around the living room, my cats scattered. I was like, oh, that was brilliant. I love beating them.
Yeah, we do love turning up to them games, and yeah, I mean, I think it is what it is, isn't it? We'll see what happens. As I said, 3 games left. We like to, we moan about when we finish 10th. And the boring football around the Kerbishley era. But nowadays, what we wouldn't give for one of them seasons, just once in a while would be nice. Just to have everything sorted by like January, February time. And then we can enjoy the last few months. But it is what it is, isn't it, Tommy? So it is the West Ham way. So we'll just see what happens. And, massive game against Watford on Friday. And yeah, I mean, I mean, the good thing for us is obviously Man City... obviously getting back into Europe means they'll spank Bournemouth tomorrow, hopefully, because they'll have something to play for. They've been playing with nothing to play for at the moment, and they're still turning over teams 4-5-0. So hopefully they'll spank Bournemouth, get that goal difference back up again, and get us all ready for the. I honestly think if we win on Friday, that'll be it for us. That will be fine, and I think that'll be a nail in the coffin for Watford. I really think so, because I think Villa have got games that are playing teams around them that don't have nothing to play for. I think they've got Everton and...
that's the thing. It's even after Everton's amazing result, or excuse me, even after Bournemouth's amazing result against Leicester.
Yeah.
When Vardy scored, you just thought, oh, that's it now. Leicester will go on.
I turned off at half time. Right, that's it. Done.
That's it. I didn't realise till the next day. I saw something on Twitter and I'm like, what's this? And I went into Google and checked the results and I'm like, oh, you're kidding me. You're kidding me. 4-1. But then I saw, Kasper Schmeichel's howlers and Soyuncu booting someone into the net, and I'm thinking, Leicester just imploded.
Yeah, they did.
But I couldn't believe it. But to be honest, even after that win for Bournemouth, I wasn't worried about them. I
No.
don't think they're a threat. They've got horrible running,
Yeah,
horrible.
they're too far
They're
back.
not. Yeah, they're not catching us.
No.
The worry is Villa. Like I say, they go to Goodison Park, I think, on Thursday.
Yeah.
Um, that obviously would be huge. If they go and win at Everton, and Everton looked really bad against Wolves.
Yeah.
So and Villa are fighting for their lives. So if Villa were to go there and nick that, then you would have to say, right, like that Watford game on Friday night becomes absolutely huge, because Villa, I believe, will want a result in that game, maybe a winner, and I think they would want Watford to win it because they play us.
Yeah, exactly.
Villa. They don't play Watford.
No.
They have Everton away, then they have Arsenal at home. They could don't put it past Arsenal to lose that game.
Easy. That's what
Arsenal
saying.
blow hot and cold.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get from Arsenal. They can lose to anybody. Yeah. So, we need to be careful. I wouldn't be counting my chickens just yet. No. We'll wait and see what happens. If Everton win, I'll probably, breathe a little bit then. But if Villa go there and win, I mean, that Watford game becomes absolutely massive for us. We have to win it then.
Yeah, it is. It's massive, but it is what it is, and we'll see what happens, innit? I mean, football's a funny old game, as they say. So there'll be another couple of twists before then, I'm sure. So Tommy, why? Obviously, West Ham, passionate West Ham fan. The question I always ask everyone, getting back to the episode, is why West Ham? Why is West Ham your club? What's your story?
Okay, well, I was born in a sleepy little village, or at least in a hospital near a sleepy little village in South Tipperary. My family are all from there, going back generation after generation. We're Tipperary. So growing up very young there, football wasn't part of my life whatsoever. No. There's an Irish sport called hurling, very popular here in Ireland, and it's huge in Tipperary. So Tipperary are one of the kind of best counties at it, basically. And that was really what I was completely into. I played it at school. You start when you're like 4 or 5, because it's a highly skilled game. It's not something you can really take up late.
No, it's not at all. Yeah.
You have to start playing it from very young if you're going to master the skills and all that. So I was just completely hurling. That was all I did. But then when I was 9, we moved to the East End of London, to Forest Gate. My mum had a sister living there. Initially, when we moved in with them. So we got our feet under us, So I ended up from a sleepy little village in South Tipperary, and I mean, surrounded by countryside and mountains and usual stuff. And all of a sudden, I find myself in the East End of London. Slight culture shock.
Yeah.
Just total fish out of water.
Wow.
Like I say, first of all, we lived in Forest Gate. I spent a little time in primary school, just kind of finishing primary school there, in St. Anthony's there, and but not for long. Before I knew it, I was into St. Bon's. I don't know if you know St. Bonaventure's there, but so went to St. Bonaventure's secondary, and it was there that I really kind of first started to really make friends. And by this, and not long after that, we actually moved to a place called Grangewood Street in East Ham.
Oh, wow.
And I could actually, from the house I was living in there, you could hear the crowd at Upton Park from the living room.
Fantastic.
So if there was no noise, you could tell what the score was.
Yeah.
By the size of the roar. So a bigger roar, West Ham have scored, and kind of a little roar that you can just about hear, you're like, crap, whoever we're playing has scored. But that's how close it was. And like I said, started making some friends at school. And naturally, a lot of them were West Ham. So there was one day in the summer, during the summer holidays, one of these friends of mine and his girlfriend, he was, proper West Ham, this lad. He invited me along to like a pre-season friendly game, um, and his girlfriend was bringing a friend who I'd already met, and so I was kind of keen to meet her. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go. And again, no major interest at this point, right? So
Yeah.
um, I just went, because this girl was going. So and so I met them, um, and we went to Upton Park. We went onto the North Bank. Um, Truth be told, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the game. I was
Yeah.
slightly distracted uh, with this girl, but we went to another one a little time after, and I did take a bit more interest in that game
Mm.
and watch it because I did love sport, so I
Yeah.
was naturally inclined
Yeah.
towards sport. So I did watch it, and I really enjoyed the game. And don't ask me who were playing. It was a pre-season game, so they weren't English. One of them was Brazilian.
Oh.
Frank McAvenny got sent off, I think, for punching someone in the face. Um, as you do, but yeah, but I decided to go with this guy to an actual um, first division game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once the season had started. Again, I don't remember the first game. I'm funny that way. I know you get people in the show. What was your first ever game? They give you all these great memories, and we did this, and it was playing against this, and this guy scored, and
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I can't
No,
genuinely,
some
honestly
people just
remember.
don't. Yeah, some people just
Yeah,
don't, man.
that's just how I am. I don't remember these bloody things. Um, and I was still young enough, I was still
Yeah.
just barely in my teens. Um, but yeah, and I got hooked. I just got hooked
Yeah.
on football, and particularly in West Ham. And given that I was a 5 minute walk across a small park,
Wow. Exactly.
and I'm into the North Bank, I just loved the atmosphere. It was
Yeah.
amazing, when being up on the North Bank, I just loved it up there. Um, limbs when we score, and really just developed from there. I just started going all the time, and I just loved it, and just absolutely fell in love with West Ham, and the rest, as I say, is history.
It just creeps into your clothing, doesn't it? It's just like
It seeps into your
osmosis.
skin,
It just
yeah,
goes in, and
gets into your bloodstream.
before you know it, like what the fuck am I wearing? Jesus, it's like you're in the shirt, and I know exactly how, and then it's just one of those things, isn't it? And actually, it's a really different. We haven't had a story like that,
I'll
Tommy.
tell you,
Actually,
yeah, I'll tell you a good one.
go on. In.
Um, my aunt's husband,
Yeah,
he was Tottenham, right? And um, he has two sons, right? And the older of the two was only a little bit younger than me,
yeah,
and he was mad trying to get me to follow Tottenham, right? But I'd already been West Ham a few times,
yeah,
so I'd already decided, now West Ham's my team. Plus, they were just over the road, right? So I'd
yeah.
already decided. But his son, he was going mad, just uh, trying to get him up to White Hart Lane and stuff like that. And I was like, nah, mate, never mind that place. West Ham's a proper club. I said, proper stadium over here, it's only across the road. I started taking him. I converted him to West Ham,
Brilliant.
which really, really annoyed my uncle. I mean, just really annoyed him. He was proper Tottenham, like, all his life, and
Yeah,
and he wasn't too peeved that I wouldn't turn because I'd already chosen West Ham, and he kind of knew that. But when I turned his son Paul into West Ham, that really peeved him off, and that still gives me a giggle to this day, I have to
a lot
say.
of a lot of pride. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It's
And
funny,
we
but
both still rib him about it.
oh
We
really?
love giving it. Oh, we love giving him the bubbles and all that. Yeah,
Oh,
it
fantastic.
really gets on his goat to this day.
I love the fact he's still pissed off by that. But that's the way you said. It's one of those things. I mean, some people just don't know why they started supporting West Ham, but they did. And it's just, as you said, it just gets into the fabric of your clothes, and before you know it, it just creeps up into everything. When you start looking, I might have a meeting in work, and actually, it's like,
Yeah,
it's a 5:30. It's an evening kickoff. Let's move it to
yeah,
4. It's all those things, and obviously, in the lockdown world that we've been living at the moment, being part of something like West Ham collectively has had a massive effect on people, because it means that people are still chatting. Obviously, you're quite vocal on Twitter, and we'll chat to everyone, and the Facebook groups and stuff like that. It's lovely to see. The only thing we have in common is the fact that we wear the same badge, Well, you got the newer badge, you got the old
Yeah.
one, but you know what I mean. And it's lovely to see. It's lovely to see. I don't know. I mean, we might be biased, but I don't see that in other clubs supporter based. Do you know what I mean in terms of that sort of togetherness? And there really seems a lot of, particularly with like the American Hammers and the Scandinavian Hammers and all over the place. There's this real like family, West Ham family type thing going on, and I just love it. It's really nice. And once you're in, aren't you, Tom? It doesn't matter where you come from, where you go. If you support West Ham, you're mates with everyone, isn't it? And that's the great thing about West Ham, I think.
Yeah,
Particularly,
it's one of the things, right from the beginning that I loved
mm,
about it. We'd meet people from all walks, and on the North Bank as well. I mean,
yeah,
wasn't particularly for the faint of heart either up there, and I was a little fella, and going often I'd go on my own because I was, maybe no one else could go, didn't have the money or whatever,
yeah,
and I'd come across and I'd be on my own, and it didn't matter.
no,
I wasn't, with an actual friend, like, because once you're in there, you're the same as everybody else. We're all
yeah,
one, and we're all part of it. We're all in it together, and you can have the banter with anyone around you. You can, jump on people and hug people and all that,
brilliant,
and we're all just West Ham, and it's always been that way. We're a
yeah,
very close knit club, and the
yeah,
fans are all are close knit, and obviously for me living here in the southwest of Ireland,
mm,
um, social media has kind of transformed being
yeah,
a West Ham fan for me. The amount of contact I have now,
yeah,
with other West Ham fans is just immense. Through Twitter mostly. Um, you can tweet away, you can have conversations all day long if you want, really,
yeah,
and you can talk about the games. And obviously, all social media, like YouTube, like you're doing, obviously allows
yeah,
fans to interact with each other as well. And so, social media, if you're not in the thick of it, as it were,
yeah, right.
is hugely important.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I've seen that, out of this channel. I mean, I've met people who, to be honest, I never would have spoken to before. I mean, to be honest, probably never would have spoken to you before, Tommy. To be honest, but
Yeah,
because of West Ham, because of of the channel, I've met some really nice people, some lovely people. I've been invited to days out and all these things when the lockdown stops, and to pubs and drinks and stuff, and it's lovely, and it just shows. Everyone talks about this West Ham community, the West Ham family. This channel is the epitomation of that. That's not a word, but it is
epitome.
epitome. Yeah, yeah, exactly, epitomation. I like just making up as we go along, Tommy. In that, it started as an idea 8 weeks ago, and it's just become this beast of a thing now, with loads of people wanting to come on and stuff like that, and share their stories, and everyone wants to listen to the stories because everyone's story is unique, and yours is probably one of the most unique stories I've had, to be honest, Tommy. From Ireland to East London. Only went to the first game because he went to get on off with a new girl, and and then come back. That's what I love. That's love. Now, that's
Yeah,
obviously one bit of the sort of the episode. The other bit is his Hammers 11. So the idea is everyone, whether it's a fan, an ex-player, an ex-coach, an ex-manager, anyone I've interviewed, we try and get this Hammers 11. So the idea is everyone has their own 11, and so it could be players
yeah,
that have meant something to them, or their favourite players, or whatever. We try and keep it to a 4-4-2, but I can do whatever now. I don't really care, Tommy. I'm getting soft in my old age. But the only rule is that you have to be alive to have seen them play. Um, Otherwise, we'd probably all have almost exactly the same 11, because I'd have had Bobby Moore in my team, but I never saw him play.
yeah.
So it's like, why, because of history, I know Bobby Moore should be in my team, but I never saw him play. So he's not, but Gary Breen is.
Yeah,
Not really, not really,
yeah.
not really.
Get out of it. He has to be in mine.
Yes,
You've asked me to
yes.
do an Irish 11.
That's,
You've rightly put it up to me.
I know, I know, I know. I shouldn't have said Gary Breen. Sorry. Roger Johnson.
Yeah,
Insert laugh here. Okay, right. Okay. So, are we going to do an
he,
Irish
yeah.
11? Are we
He
going to do
was
an Irish
poor.
11?
Yeah,
Go on.
poor Roger was one paced and it was backwards, wasn't it? It was just,
He was
some
such
say he's still running backwards.
Yeah, still running backwards from that clearance he was trying to do against what's the name. But, so, Tommy,
That was.
are we gonna do an Irish 11? Are we gonna do an Irish 11?
We're gonna almost do an Irish 11.
Almost.
We're
Okay.
gonna do 10 of 11. But you've
Okay.
got me on Yeah, maybe you can help me later, but or someone in the chat or something can help me. But I got
Someone
caught
will.
on one position.
All right, cool. Ooh, okay, that's good. Right,
Yeah.
let's start then, Tommy. Let's go in goal. Who have we got in goal?
Well, the goal is actually our current backup, Darren Randolph.
Oh
Um,
yes.
yeah, not too many Irish keepers have come through West Ham, but
No.
yeah, Darren Randolph, he's one-time starter, current backup, so it was a fairly easy one, that one,
Yeah.
because he's
No.
at West
And
Ham
he
right
and he
now. So
and he's all right, wasn't he? I think when he was, I like Darren Randolph. I think when he was number one before he went,
yeah,
he forced his way into that sort of position, didn't he? Really, I mean, he was solid. I think he's a really solid goalkeeper. He's great to have as a number two. If you only
yeah,
get him,
he's good enough to be a Premier League backup keeper.
yeah,
I wouldn't want him as our first choice week in, week out, to be
no,
honest. He is mistake prone at times. Um, I don't think he's limited, but he's a good keeper. I mean, he's not calamitous. He's not
yeah,
Roberto. But
I
yeah,
know.
he's fine as a backup. And to be honest, when he plays for Ireland, he does very, very well for us.
Mm, yeah, no, I get that. If only we had him instead of Roberto, it would have been such a different
Well, that's
season.
it. If he'd have, yeah, exactly. If he'd have been there instead of Roberto, he would have been. He would have done fine. Yeah.
Yeah, who knows what would have been one of those sliding doors moments, wasn't it, when we let Adrian go? And it was always like it's always
Yeah.
hindsight, isn't it? Let Adrian go. Oh, it's okay. We've got these two. They're never going to play these two. Don't worry. We'll send out all the kids on loan, and then within a week, Fabianski gets injured, and you're like, oh, bollocks. It just
Yeah.
didn't work out.
We
It
missed
happens so
the.
often.
Yeah. I don't know how Roberto is considered a goalkeeper by anyone.
Well,
Uh,
didn't he have an absolute nightmare back in Alvarez when he went back on loan, and they've signed him back or something like that for the rest of the season? And it's like must have been
yeah.
desperate
I
for
mean, I haven't really been
goalkeepers.
following him, but I did
No, me
see
neither. Yeah, it
before
was him.
just before the lockdown, he had an absolute howler. Came flapping for another cross.
Yeah, I think it was
Missed it
against
completely.
I think it was against Jonathan Caleri or something like that. It was another West Ham. There was like a weird. It's like the other day with the. Did you see the Galatasaray game when Feghouli sort of did a almost like on the floor like kicked Manuel de Costa in the chest?
No.
It was like he got sent off on VAR, but it was like so random. Like back, two West Ham boys, two leagues removed, but they
We do
put.
manage to find them, these players, don't we? Just it's uncanny. Just
We really
nutters. I
do.
don't. I just
But I think we like a nutter though, Tommy. To be honest, that we like someone who's like on the edge. It's like Thomas Repka or someone like that. He's on the
yeah.
edge. You don't know, something will snap and that's it.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
like
There's
that.
two different types. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like there's the type that are always kind of like you say, just on the edge a little bit.
yeah,
Like I say, Thomas Repka. Um, Obviously, Julian Dick sometimes was very very
yep,
close to the line and
yep,
stuff. Razor Ruddock, Paolo Di Canio.
yeah,
People that maybe weren't all there.
yeah.
Frankly, do you know what I mean? But
Oh, totally.
they can get away with it. If they're good players, if they can play as well, they can get away with it. But unfortunately, we've signed too many players that couldn't play and were just lunatics as well.
Yeah,
And like Arnautovic played, on the line a lot as well, and he was, as we call him, a bastard.
yeah,
But he was a great player for us. So
yeah.
we you can get away with it, but
You sort of gloss
you
that bit
can't get
over.
away with it if you're you can't get away with it if you're Roberto, because
Yeah.
you're crap. You're not getting away with being a lunatic. So
That is true. All right then. Okay, Randolph's in goal. Let's go. Let's go left back then, Tommy. Who are we gonna have left back?
left back, I don't know if you remember Clive Clark. He was with
Oh
us there.
yes,
Was it
yeah,
2005 2006 season?
yeah,
Clive
yeah,
Clark was an Irish player. I was struggling a bit on left back. I had to really dig um, to think of who's an Irish left back that's been
yeah.
with us, and all I could think of my time was Clive Clark at left back for us. So I had no choice but to go for him. Really,
Yeah, I know. Clive Clark. Yeah, I remember. I do remember him vaguely, very vaguely. He wasn't
yeah, he was
around.
here I think one season, but
Yeah,
you know He was here, so
He
he
was
counts.
here, so he counts. He counts. I like it, Tommy. Okay, we'll put Clive Clark in. Let's go. Let's go right back then. Who we go right back then?
Well, it has to be the man himself, the legend, Joey O'Brien.
Oh, Joey O'Brien. Job.
The legend that is Joey O'Brien.
God bless him. I like
Yeah.
Joey O'Brien. I liked him. I thought he did a job for us. You know, it's like
We've had worse right
we've
backs.
had a lot worse right backs, but he was
We've had much
versatile,
worse.
wasn't it? He was a very versatile player. I mean, obviously when he was at Bolton, he was a more of a sort of centre midfield defensive player,
Yeah.
wasn't he? If I was right, and
Yeah.
you know he did a job for us, O'Brien. I think you know, as you said, there's a lot. It could have been a lot worse. Christ, we've had a lot worse who played there. But he
Yeah.
was solid.
No doubt.
He was solid and I liked him. All right, Joey O'Brien. Okay, this is great. I love this. There's going to be some new names coming up in. We've had about 165 different names, and already out of your three, we've got two new ones, Randolph and Clark. So it's all good. You see some new names of the channel. Right, okay, centre halves. Let's go centre halves then. Who we got centre halves then, Tommy?
Well, first up, we mentioned Gary Breen.
Yeah.
That was an obvious one straight off the
Yeah.
bat. Now, the other one, I couldn't think of another Irish centre back who played for West Ham. Now, I didn't go mad Googling, digging,
No.
investigating, but as God is my witness, I thought of Gary Breen pretty quickly. And after that, I'm struggling thinking, who other Irish centre backs have played for us? And I was really struggling. I couldn't even think of one.
No, I can't think of one.
I had to go back. I ended up thinking about people like Noel Cantwell from, you know, way back in the day, you know, and I said, obviously, no, I definitely didn't see him play.
Definitely not.
He was, you know, he was way back when, but he was from Cork. But no, I couldn't think of a second centre back.
Okay, so
now if anyone else can,
who are you going to put in instead then, Tom? Who are you going to put in?
I don't have an Irish centre back to play beside Breen, to be honest.
You put someone else in. Put one in. Who's your favourite centre back of all time at West Ham? We'll let you put that one in.
Favourite centre back of all time?
Yeah.
At West Ham. Oh, this is a good one.
Give you a free hit.
Yeah, why not? All right, I'm not gonna cheat. I'm gonna be someone that I could see play. Okay. I'm gonna put Rio in. You know what a player he was. You know, I remember when he first came through Rio.
Yeah.
Just the excitement. Just you could see immediately. Just wow. I hadn't seen it at West Ham before. You know the way he would carry the ball out of defence, like he was an attacking midfielder, like attacking centre backs. He would just carry the ball out at his feet. He would go past someone, you know, and then spray a ball out to the wing. And I'm thinking, oh, this is new.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah.
You know, this guy is really, really special.
Yeah.
You know, so as I remember, because they had won the Youth Cup, remember, the FA Youth Cup, and you could see then he was a really, really good player. But when I saw him play for the first team, and he just came in like, no problem.
Yeah.
Just absolute no problem. Just throw him in. He's ready, and he's going to be great. And it's a pity we didn't have him for longer. It's a pity, you know, if we'd had him for the time he was at Leeds, if he'd gone from us to United, instead of from us to Leeds, then United, you know, if we had him for a little bit longer, I mean, he was just, I mean, the excitement every time he came out with the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The whole crowd were like, oh, what's he going to do? You know, and it was brilliant. I loved it.
Right. I mean, we were sort of used to, obviously, after, you know, before then and afterwards, you know, I wouldn't say we'd have particularly great ball playing centre backs. There were more blockers, you know, and Rio was very different, wasn't he? He just the way he conducted himself. He was young, but he seemed mature in a weird, you know, sort of oxymoron type thing. But yeah, he was brilliant, wasn't he?
He was a Pep Guardiola centre back before Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
You know.
No, exactly.
You know, he was like a new breed. Like I said to you, when you see him play, you thought, oh, this is new. Centre backs aren't supposed to do this.
No.
You know, and I remember he got called up for England, and he came off the bench in his debut, and obviously the crowd were Rio, and I don't know if it was that game or the next game, but very early he came out with the ball and did the same thing. Came out with the ball and skinned midfielder.
Yeah.
And then played the ball out to the wing, and the crowd were like off their feet, like, oh, this kid's amazing. You know, it was just wonderful to watch. I loved him.
Yeah, no, it was. And even when I watch him on telly, he's still a West Ham boy. Do you know what I mean? I still think, oh, he's one of ours. He is. You know, it's like, you know, although he only played a few seasons, like in the first team, he was still one of our boys. And yeah, and obviously, you know, the career he's had after that. Okay, we'll give you 3 for that one, Tommy. Right, Rio's in. Let's go midfield. Let's go left midfield then. Who have we got left midfield?
Left midfield. I did a little bit of. They are midfielders, all of them. I just did a little bit of jiggery poker just to get the players I wanted in here.
Go for it.
So on the left, I put Matt Holland.
Yes.
Started out with us as a youngster. Got a lot of caps for Ireland. A really decent player, probably best known for his exploits at Charlton, maybe. But you know, really decent player, Matty Holland. You know, okay, again, not world class, but you know, when do Ireland produce world class players? You know, we don't really. But you know, he was a really tidy player, Matt, and he had a really great Premier League career. You know, played for a few different clubs, but really tidy player. Had a bit about him, Matt Holland. Really good, decent strike on him as well.
Yeah, good shout. I'll put Matty Holland. Right, you just carry on, Tommy. You tell me. You go through the team as you want to go through it in midfield. Then I'll leave it to you. Who's next?
Okay. So we'll go into the centre then. I am going 4-4-2 here, by the way.
That's right.
So I'll stick to 4-4-2. Instead of me, we've got Chris Hughton. Another very, very tidy midfielder for us. You know, really decent player. Had a little bit about him. Could pass the ball. Again, had a really decent career with Ireland. And you know, decent player for us. And a half decent manager as well. I hope he gets a good job, you know.
Yeah, he needs to get back into the game. Yeah, he needs to get back into the game, doesn't he? I think he's a good manager. He did a good job at Brighton, didn't he? Particularly.
I thought it was a bit harsh the second, to be honest.
Yeah, well, because it was about the football, wasn't it? There was this sort of, they thought he played like negative, and so he got Potter in, and you know, then they get turned over. They do all right, and they get turned over, you know, sometimes, and it's all right playing the right football. You just need the right players. I think, you know. I think we've been a bit guilty of that at times. You know, we've tried to run before we can walk in terms of bringing in, you know, someone like Pellegrini and spending all this money where we didn't have the infrastructure in place to capitalise on that, did we, really? And so when he left, like, boys turned up and it was like the cupboards were bare. There was no scouting reports, nothing. There was no scouts. And, you know, it's like... And I think that was the same with Brighton. And I think, you know, Chrissy Hughton was a good manager for them. Good manager. Okay, right, Chrissy.
I'm sure he'll be back.
He'll be back. I mean, he's a type of manager who'll do well at, you know, I don't know. He's one of the sort of the bottom third teams, really, doesn't he? That's what he sort of starts coming. But that's what you need sometimes. You need a manager who's going to come in. He's not ahead of his game. He knows that league he's playing in terms of that sort of bottom third, and knows how to get the results and, you know, motivate the teams. That's all it is for those types of managers. Okay, Chrissy is in. Your next midfielder, then, Tommy.
His midfield partner. Just quick question. Have you had any controversy on the show before?
No.
You're gonna.
Love it.
Declan Rice is going in.
Oh.
And I don't care. I don't care. I'm putting Declan Rice in. Look, I could have put Josh Cullen, right? I could have put Josh Cullen.
Yeah.
I was tempted, and I said, you know what? I'm putting Ricey in there because he has played for Ireland.
He has.
He played under 16, under 17, 18, 19, 21s, and played 3 times for our senior team. He's going in. I don't care what shirt he's wearing now. He's going in. I think I'm entitled to. And I love him. I love him. What a player! You know, he will go on to be world class.
Oh, definitely.
He really will. I'm convinced of it. He will go on to be a world class player. I haven't said that. I really hope he stays with us for a while longer, but I think the writing is on the wall at some point.
It is. I think it is, and it's a bit like when you have like when Rio came and Joe and Glenn Johnson.
Yeah, you knew.
You're like, this is brilliant, but how long have we got them for? That's sort of, and that's always been the way with West Ham for many minutes. You know, even before then. So now in terms of depth, go on, Tommy.
No, sorry, I was going to say it was actually I watched your show with Harry Redknapp.
Yeah.
And he was talking about back in the day when they won the FA Youth Cup. and they had all these players, local boys that had come through the academy to play for the first team. And then you spoke also, of course, about that class that came through that won the FA Youth Cup as well. Rio and the boys, we call them. Everyone knows who they are, right?
Yeah.
And I remember being a bit forlorn about it because back in the day when Harry and the boys came through, these players, by and large, would stay at the club. You know, it was a local club. They came through the academy. They were connected to the club. They loved it. And you could generally hold on to your players. You know, you could have Bobby Moore, Jeff Hurst, Martin Peters, etc., Sissons, Redknapp, you know, Bonzo, all his Brooking. They'd stay.
Yeah.
They'd stay and they'd play hundreds of games for the club. And I just remember thinking that those days are gone now.
Yeah.
If we bring through a group of great players like we did with Rio and the guys, the prospect. I mean, we didn't keep any of them.
No.
We lost every one of them.
Yeah.
And it's sad that that's the way of it now, isn't it? I mean, that you can't hold on. Even if you develop brilliant players on a regular basis, you lose them all.
You do.
You don't get to keep them. Like Southampton have done it too. Southampton have produced, over the last 20 years, a number of top-class players. Didn't get to keep a single one either.
No.
And it's sad that that's the case, that you can't build a team of local boys. And actually, what could we have done with them players? With a couple of additions around them.
Yeah.
We had 5 or 6 lads that had come through.
Yeah. It's true.
You know, imagine if we'd have been able to just build a little bit around them and watch how they had developed. The likes of Rio and Lampard and Defoe, Joey Cole, Glenn Johnson, Carrick. You know, God, what we could have done. But the inevitable thing is that we lose them all. Now we've brought through Declan Rice, and we all know we're going to lose him.
Yeah.
We can't build a...
You're right.
Yeah, sometimes you wonder what's the point. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. And you're right.
Okay, it makes money. It seems to me the academy spends years developing a player. Every once in a while, a brilliant one will come through like Declan Rice. If you're lucky, you might get 2 or 3 come along at a similar time. And then you bring them into the first team, you develop them even more, and then they become, you know, really young, top-class players that are highly rated. And then you sell them, and you might be able to get a few, like Declan obviously will fetch a big price, but so you can bring in some players, improve the team a bit, maybe keep your academy going, maybe divert some money into your academy, keep that going, keep that show on the road. But it seems like just this, sometimes it feels like just this kind of pointless merry-go-round.
I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. And you're right. I mean, I just think it's just football in general now, isn't it? And it's like, gone are the days where you'll play for your hometown team or your boyhood club and you'll do 300-400 appearances. That was like in that era, in the you know, when I interviewed Tony Gale, you know, every year Tony Gale was at the club was a testimonial year, bar 1 year, I think he said. And it's because everyone's stuck. I mean, Brookham, we went down into the, you know, obviously the equivalent of the Championship, and he stayed at the club, and he was playing England regular, international, and that would never happen nowadays. There's football. I mean, you see someone like the holding Ngakia thing. You know, it's like the guy played 4 or 5 games for the first team and thinks, you know, I'm going to go to another club. I haven't even seen where he signed. Nothing's come out where he signed for yet. You know, if he signed anyone, but it's just the way that football is. And you're right. Something like Deck has always been, ever since sort of that golden era in the academy with Rio and that lot. As soon as you see a good player, your first question is, how long are we going to keep him for? Not how are we going to build a team around him. How long are we going to keep him for before he goes? Now, something like Deck, I would. And I think it was, I can't remember, I was interviewing someone the other day, and they said, you know what, I'd give him the captain's armband permanently now. That's a great incentive to stay at the club. End of the day, but Mark is Mark, and actually, now clearly at that Chelsea game and the Newcastle game, you saw how the future of the midfield will look. It'll be Dek and Souček and one more. And if it's
Yeah.
defensive, Mark goes in. If it's a team we're going to attack, we'll put in Fornals, or we'll put in, and so Mark is going to be pushed out of the team. He will be naturally. He'll play on Friday. He'll get his 500th appearance. And that's fantastic. And then I think he'll be a bit player next season. Dek's got to be captain. That's a great incentive for get someone to stay. I mean, I've seen Dek from under 19s, under 23s at West Ham. The boy is upper class. We don't that not only in terms of him as a player, but him as a character. You don't get young kids with that level of leadership. That's John Terry type leadership. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and I just think that's the only way we're gonna. That's one of the main ways you keep him. You make him captain. It's like but we'll see. I mean, you just don't know. Again, it depends what happens in the next 3 games in it as well. To be perfectly honest, if it always tits up, he won't be there come August.
All of this is a moot point. If we get relegated. But yeah, I agree. I don't see Noble being a regular starter next season.
No.
Yeah, I mean, there's something very wrong if he is. And there's nothing against Noble. No. I mean, he's pushing 34 now, and he can't be starting every week now. It's, no. It's ridiculous. And he just physically can't do it.
Exactly.
But yeah, I agree. I think give Declan the captaincy, and frankly, I'd be giving him a huge contract at this point. I'd be given 100, 120 a week, no problem, and say, listen, here's 4 years, 100k a week, 120k a week, whatever they work out. There's the armband. We want you to stay, and we want to build a team around you.
Exactly. That's the only way you're going to do it.
And just see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to. It's the old thing, right? Shoot your shot. Just shoot your shot. Try and keep him. Do whatever you can to keep him at the club. If it doesn't work, at least you tried. And look, obviously, if a major club comes in for him, it'll be difficult. To persuade him not to go. But but you never know with players. The players are. You never know with them. Declan might just genuinely say, "Do you know what? I just love this club. I love the fans. I love being here. I love playing here. And I'm just going to stay." I mean, Matt Letizia could have gone anywhere. Matt Letizia was an unbelievable player for Southampton. I mean, big fish in a small pond there, and just never wanted to leave Southampton. He could have gone to a major club. He could have played for Liverpool, no problem. Could have played for United, no problem. But just didn't want to. Just loved Southampton, loved playing there, was happy there. So if we're very, very lucky, maybe Declan is a Matt Letizia type. Who knows?
Maybe he'll be getting 500 appearances for the club. Who knows?
That would be fantastic. Yeah,
that'd be amazing, wouldn't it? But and to be honest, it'll make him stand out. I honestly think that having that sense of loyalty, I think a lot of people outside of West Ham and Chelsea, because that's where he'd go to basically, wouldn't it? I think if he did go, there'd be a massive amount of respect for him, because he could go for the money. He could hand in the transfer request tomorrow. He could be at Chelsea, and they'd pay the money, or Man United. But he doesn't, and I think it would really boost his profile in terms of respect. But we'll see. Anyway,
another thing that might work in our favour actually, is whether or not the money is there for him, because we're talking 80, 90 million here for Declan, I think. I mean, I wouldn't take less than 80 for him. Not a hope. So if these clubs don't have it, then tough. And I don't think Declan's the kind of kid that's going to dig his heels in and kick up a stink.
No.
I think he would want West Ham to get the correct value for him if he was to go. He wouldn't expect it. Like if we got a derisory bid from Chelsea, we'll give you 30 million and Batshuayi. I don't think Declan would kick up a fuss if we told him where to shove that. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure Deck is reasonable that way and doesn't want West Ham to get shafted either.
Yeah. No,
So
it's true.
we may keep him purely for reasons that because of the COVID and the lockdown and all this,
Yeah.
maybe nobody's got the money to come in and slap 80 million quid on the table for him.
Maybe. Yeah, you're
We might
right.
keep him by default.
Yeah. Yeah. But also, I mean, Chelsea have spent a crap load of money already in the summer.
Yeah,
It's
they've got
like
Ziyech and Werner coming
and
in.
Verma
I think there's another player that's coming in as well. I can't
yeah.
remember. So
Yeah. So there's a couple. So they've spent shy. With them, it's shy of 100 million already. So it's like
yeah.
I
Plus, I mean, we keep getting these Chelsea links. So they might have absolutely no intention of signing him, for all we know.
yeah, we just don't know. Yeah, it's all about whoever's writing the stories, isn't
A
it?
lot of
But
this is probably because he's best mates with Mason Mount, and
that's the thing. His best mate is Mason Mount, and you do want to play your mates, but it's and you can see obviously the whole John Terry type persona he has, and obviously Frank. You can see why he'd fit into Chelsea. I mean, I still think he's a fantastic midfielder. I mean, I think eventually he will go to centre back.
I think he's wasted.
But yeah,
Centre backs are dime a dozen.
yeah. No, you're right.
You
You're
can
all
buy
right.
good you can buy good centre backs.
Yeah,
No problem. You can get good centre backs. There's plenty of good centre backs. You can go out all over Europe.
yeah.
Good centre backs you can go and take
So what is the
and bring to the
fascination? Why
Premier
do you
League.
think? But why do you think everyone wants to put him into centre back? Because that's
No
always
idea.
I know what you mean. It's like that's always everyone's sort of assumption is he's going to fall back into centre back, and actually, you're right. It's like there are so many decent centre backs already, but there's no decent, particularly for England. There's no decent defensive midfield players like I think like Declan Rice, right? Proper, I just think he's brilliant, and when he was playing, when we played Wolves, for example, and he was playing centre back, that midfield looks so weak, and I think Deck
Yeah.
playing, he would have bossed, he would have bossed that midfield of Wolves because they're not massively, not quite big, they're quite sort of nimble and quick, and I think he would have been brilliant. But
Yeah, I mean, just go out and try and find a world-class defensive midfielder,
yeah,
as opposed to trying to find, like a top-class centre back.
oh, you're right,
Centre backs you can find. Might have to pay for them, of course you will, but they're there. Now
yeah.
you go out and try and find world-class defensive midfielders, which Rice is going to be. They do not grow on trees.
Yeah.
So why you'd want to waste him at centre back, I just don't. I've never understood it.
No, I know. Right. Anyway, Declan Rice in your team. I love these shows. That's why I love these shows because it's just like really, it's just go and talk about something. But yeah,
Yeah, they just
Declan.
segue off into something
That's
else.
it.
Yeah.
That's the. I mean, this is the only good thing about having the team is doing the 11 is it does keep like a structure to it, but it's just a chat. It's just like two blokes at the pub really
Yeah.
talking about football. Right,
That's
we'll
it,
put
really.
Declan.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Who is your last midfielder in this team?
Okay, I'm playing him on the right,
Yep.
albeit he's thought of more as a central midfielder. But we're going to talk about a player now, mate.
Okay.
Just absolute brilliant, world-class baller of a man, Liam Brady. Just Liam Brady was just an unbelievable footballer.
Yeah.
Just incredible skill. Went played in Italy as well and tore it up over there as well. You're a good player if you can go from
You can do it over there.
England to Italy and be brilliant over there. Was brilliant for every club he played for. Just incredibly silky, great skill, could skin people with ease. Great passer of the ball. I mean, Liam Brady was just a wonderful, wonderful footballer. I know he's best known here for being Arsenal, but he wasn't washed up when he came to us by any means. He was just still a beautiful footballer and just fantastic to watch. So I had to have Liam Brady in the team, even if you put him out on the right. He could play out on the right, no problem.
And what's it
Put
like?
him anywhere.
And what's it like for a true Irishman when someone like Liam Brady plays for your club, like plays for West Ham? It must have been like brilliant because you must have idolised him because he played for Ireland before, and now he's turning up for West Ham. It must have been like fucking hell. This is
it is. It's fantastic. I mean, look, we'll sign Irish players, and obviously it's always nice. Oh, Irish
Yeah,
player plays for West Ham. Randolph is there. It's
yeah,
nice. But when you have a genuinely like top class player who's Irish and comes to West Ham, which obviously is kind of like unicorns, really. Um, but when you get one, when all the stars and planets align and you get one,
yeah,
and there happens to be an Irish, absolutely brilliant player and joins West Ham, yeah, it's fantastic because I don't know, it's just nice to have an Irish player out on the pitch and just watch him do brilliant things
yeah.
with a football, and then think, he's Irish lad, and
It's one of
it's just
ours. Yeah,
fantastic to see. Yeah, like I say, it doesn't happen often,
no,
um, but when it does, yeah, it is brilliant.
yeah,
I mean, we have produced some brilliant players, Ireland, over the years, but uh, obviously they're not exactly a production line, but we have produced some. Um, and when you get one that's playing for West Ham, but is
yeah.
genuinely a class act,
Yes,
yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, it is
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
That means you
Oh.
can get the jersey then with the name, and it's
Yeah, no,
yeah,
exactly. Then you sort of like have sort of you sort of you both loves combined. It's like you're two worlds.
yeah,
It's a bit like when you're at a work do and someone from West Ham, and it's like your two worlds collide. It's very much there. You
yeah.
idolise Liam Brady because he played for what he did for the national side,
But listen,
and now he's
it's no different for England fans who are
no, yeah,
West
true,
Ham.
yeah, true, yeah,
Do you
yeah,
know what I mean? Like when you see, obviously, when England fans now who are West Ham see, maybe Declan Rice, maybe say playing for England, having a great game,
yeah,
being talked about by the commentators and by fans on social media as, oh, this what a player this guy is, and
yeah,
you feel that pride.
yeah,
I feel it no matter who they are. Like even if it's Declan Rice playing for England or another player of ours, Payet when he played for France in
yeah, yeah. I was about to
Euro
say,
in
yeah, yeah,
2016. Oh man, did I feel pride? I was like, yeah, it's our
yeah.
guy. That's our guy tearing it up over there, looking like the best midfielder in the world. It doesn't matter really. You just feel pride if you see a West
Yeah,
Ham player just tearing it up at the international level. It's just fabulous to see.
yeah, and you're right. It doesn't come along very often. So it's like
Yeah,
even more so. If you're Man City, it's like every player is an international, star. But
yeah,
for West Ham, those one or two gems, and as I said, like is it Payet and Deck and
yeah.
people like that. No, I
Yeah,
totally
and
agree.
you end up with Slaven Bilic on his knees on a table on television on ITV,
Yeah,
giving it.
I remember being
That's
in the
what it does
pub.
to you.
It's true in the pub
That's what it
going,
does to you. Yeah,
everyone's slapping your back when Payet scored in the Euros, and you're thinking, yeah, I know,
yeah,
I did that. Yeah, that was all down to me. Thanks, guys.
yeah. You're saying yes, he actually really does play for West Ham.
I
Yeah,
know, and that's what. And I think when I interviewed Gonzo, we were talking about that song, like the Payet song, and everyone sort of says, well, it's almost like we've got Payet, but Gonzo came up with a really good sort of interpretation. It was almost out of disbelief, that song. So it's not like we've got. It's like we've
yeah,
got Payet. Dimitri Payet. I just don't think I understand. It just and
yeah,
actually it's so true. That was
yeah.
an incredible period. Right, okay, we put Liam Brady in. Let's go up front. Let's go up front. Who have we got up front then, Tommy?
Okay, the first one again. We haven't had very many Irish strikers. The first one I'm thrown in is we had him in the championship, and he was decent. He was a decent for championship. Now he was a decent little championship striker. Was David Connolly. Um,
Okay.
and he did a good job for us.
Yeah, he
And
did.
yeah, he did a really good job for us down there, and he scored a few goals for us in championship, and did what he was paid to do.
He was
Again,
quick.
obviously, yeah, he was quick. Obviously, not a big guy. He's quite diminutive, but he was quick and he had good feet. And he could finish, David
Yeah,
Connolly. He was had
yeah,
a really good finish on him, and um, I thought he did really well for us at his level, which was championship. But he
yeah,
did really well for us down there, and I always liked him. That's why I put him in.
yeah.
Um, there were some others I could have gone for, but I just liked Connolly. He did a really good job for us down there. I
I
thought.
know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. I liked him. He was quick. He was nippy, and if he came off the bench, you thought there's a chance here. Because of his pace, particularly when he came off the bench. I thought it was a really strong, as you said in the championship, really strong striker for us. No, I totally agree. Good shout. Yep, David Connolly. And who is the last piece of the Tommy pie?
Okay, the final piece. Again, someone that we produced that actually turned out to be rather good, which was Robbie Keane.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Robbie was a tremendous player. Really, really skillful. Scored some fantastic goals. I remember when he first burst onto the scene, Coventry, and was just banging in great goals
Yeah.
for Coventry all the time. And immediately you're thinking, "Oh, who's this kid?" And then he went to Wolves. Then he did the same for Wolves. He would just score brilliant goals. He had a beautiful touch. He had a really beautiful first touch. He was kind of like Sheringham in that way. You know what I mean? Where he had this good peripheral vision. Where if you played the ball into him, he could play a little flick to a teammate. He knew where the runners were. His first touch was really good. He could do a first touch and turn and be gone. And he had a really good finish as well. And he could hit a ball as well. He scored some screamers. So yeah, Robbie had a really great instinct, proper striker's instinct, and scored some fantastic goals for the numerous clubs, Inter Milan as well. Don't forget, and scored some fantastic and very, very important goals for Ireland as well. So couldn't not have Robbie Keane up there.
No, exactly, and he did a job for us, didn't he? I think he came
and again,
in, he came in and did the job, and I think he's again, a lot of players, we tend to get him towards the end of their career, but I always rated Robbie Keane as a player. I thought he was always a threat, and I used to hate playing us when we played against him because he just had a knack, didn't he, of scoring?
Yeah,
and he's using it against West Ham, but
but even though, as you say, even though he was in the kind of twilight of his career, it was kind of like when Sheringham came in.
Yeah.
Yes, closer to the end of the career than the beginning, but you could still see the class. You know what I mean? You could still see the ability was there, even if they weren't in their pomp. But they were still bloody good enough, and they're still. You could just see it. You could see it when they were on the pitch that they've just got that. They've just got that thing. That they're a bit special.
Yeah, you might lose a yard of pace, but it's it's all in here, isn't it?
That's
and
there.
As long, and that was what Sheringham was like. When he played for us, he was like top goal scorer of like 20 odd goals one season.
Yeah.
And it was it was all just that yard of pace and the first yards in here, type thing. And good shout. And do you know what, Tommy? I'm really impressed you managed to get almost 11 players. To be perfect.
Yeah, I got 10. I didn't do too bad.
No,
I'll be looking like hopefully someone who watches this
worry.
maybe comment.
Don't worry. Someone will come up with another 10 people, and you're like,
yeah. Now I don't want Noel Cantwell from back in the day, but someone reasonably recent that I would have at least been able to see in my lifetime. But centre back I struggled. Yeah. Well, I struggled with the second. The first one was like that, Gary Breen. Second one. I haven't got a clue. Someone they'll probably, like you said, now there'll probably be 20 or 25.
Oh yeah, of course there will. But that's
and I'd be like,
idea.
Oh God.
But that's the West Ham. That's the West Ham way. It's West Ham community, and everyone's got an opinion and stuff. And that's what I love about this channel. Tommy, man, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. It feels like I've just been in the pub for an hour, just talking about West Ham, and that's the best way. These things, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, listen, thanks for having me on. Complete bolt out of the blue, because I know your shows you've got some great content on here. Fair play to you. You've got some former players and stuff on here, and really big names, Harry and all that. And then I get a message, would like to come on the show, and I thought he thinks I'm someone else.
It's all fans.
He's got the wrong.
The players, the managers, they go and come, but this channel is all about the fans. It started with the fans, and it will stay with the fans. And yeah, it's nice to put some of the players on, but most people love listening to other people's stories. It's not about the football. We backed the wrong horse if it was about the football. It's about the community and about the fans and about the journey, and that's what people really love about it, because it's like a community project more than anything, to be perfectly honest. And thank you, Tommy, for sparing some time and obviously spending a lot of time going back through the old archives, picking out the Irish players. It's been brilliant. Thank you so much.
You know what will happen now, don't you? As soon as we click off,
you're going to send me
I'll think of one,
11,
and I'll be like, oh, for
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
But you can keep it for when I post it, and you can tweet it. So you can say, "This is the
yeah,
this is the B team." Tommy, mate,
fair
it's been
enough.
great.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for your time, and obviously thank you to everyone for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that really, really good stuff. And until next time, for me and Tommy, take care, stay safe, and there's only one way to finish this. Come on, you irons! Come on, you irons!
come on, you Irons.
Come on, you irons! Come on! Take care, everyone. Bye bye.
Be good. Cheers, bud.